What's up, Ragin Nation? My name is Alex Yu, and you're watching Bumblebee's Journey. This is just a web series where I talk about the Bumblebee solo film in the Transformers Cinematic Universe. This is episode number 9, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who has not only just been watching my videos but also been being patient, because there has been a little bit of a delay between episodes, and it's mainly because I was at TFCon 2 weeks ago. I can't believe it's already been 2 weeks. Time sure flies. But anyways, I was at TFCon, and that kind of delayed a bit of the regularly scheduled programming with About Last Night and also Bumblebee's Journey. But anyways, thanks so much for being patient, and thank you for watching my first TFCon 2017 vlog. Day 1 is already out. There's 4 more days of vlogging left, and thank you so much for all your comments and your positive feedback. I intend to make more vlogs for you guys. But in any case, we got an episode to do, and that's about Bumblebee's Journey. I got shoutouts to do, but we're gonna leave that till the end of this episode. Right now, we got some news, and we're going to start off by talking about casting news. Now, we already talked about casting news in the previous episode, but there is one more cast member that I want to mention, and that is Pamela Adlon. And she is most known for her work as the voice of Bobby in King of the Hill, and based on some reports, it mentions that Pamela Adlon will be playing the mom to Haley Steinfeld's character. So that's the latest addition. Speaking of the cast, the main cast, or rather the I guess the supporting younger cast, has been pretty active on social media. If you aren't already following them, you totally should follow them on Twitter and on Instagram, because they're starting to post more on social media. And we have a post from Ricardo Hoyos, and he posted this little image here. Bumblebee movie rounds out main cast with 5 fresh new faces. And these are the cast members that I actually mentioned. Actually, not all of them, but a couple of the cast members that I mentioned in the previous episode. And also, Jason Drucker recently posted on his Instagram, Bumblebee, Jason Drucker, Abby Quinn, Rachel Crow, Richard Hoyos, and Gracie Zieni set to join the cast for Transformers spinoff. And his most latest post was actually of him landing in LA, because he's getting ready to film in LA for Transformers Bumblebee. Now, speaking of casting, of course, there's the casting call for background talent, and background talent means extras, the people standing in the background. So Brighton Falls is going to be filming very, very soon. Brighton Falls is the placeholder name for Bumblebee. They don't want to call it Bumblebee, otherwise everybody's just going to be flocking to wherever they're filming, and they won't be able to get any work done. So they're calling it Brighton Falls for now, and Brighton Falls is actually a reference to the Iron Giant, which was also produced by Lorenzo de Bonaventura. Anyways, with regards to the extras casting call, if you are in the LA area or in California, Northern California area, during the dates of July 31st and beyond, you should get in touch with this company, AE Casting. Get in touch with them, because you might want to send your headshots or send in an acting resume, because maybe you'll be able to land a part in Transformers Bumblebee. So that should be pretty exciting. So let's talk about when they're going to be filming. And well, they're going to be filming on, first of all, July 31st, which is a few days from now, but it's actually going to wrap up in November, based on what it says here on Omega Underground. Bumblebee, aka Brighton Falls, to wrap filming in November. And what exactly are those exact dates? Well, they are starting on July 31st, but they will wrap up on November 15th. And so that is essentially August, September, October, and half of November. So 3.5 months of filming. That's a pretty long shoot, but it is a pretty big movie. I mean, it is a Transformers movie, but it isn't quite that big of a Transformers movie, because it's not going to be directed by Michael Bay. Michael Bay is somebody who makes big Transformers movies, but Bumblebee will be a much smaller film. Anyways, let's move on to talk about what are some of the locations that they're filming in for Transformers Bumblebee. So some of the locations include, first of all, of course, we know Los Angeles, Northern California, San Francisco, but it's also going to be filming in Marin, as in Marin County. Now, I'm not too familiar with the geography in California, so I decided to look it up on Google Maps, and so Marin is a county in California, and it's just right above San Francisco. So it's just in this red outline area right here, and that's where they're going to be filming. And I don't know exactly like at which time they're going to be filming, like which dates they're going to be filming there, but considering that this headline is very, very recent, it could potentially mean that they're filming there very, very soon. So that's what's happening. Now, I did mention that Transformers Bumblebee is going to be a smaller Transformers film, and that's completely accurate, because apparently, based on this article here from the Hollywood Reporter, I'm going to read this headline here. Hollywood rethinks key movie franchises amid a mixed summer at the box office. Now, what it's referring to is that there are some films that do really well at the box office, and then there are some films that do really poorly at the box office, even though they've had really good reviews. So it's been a really mixed bag of financial returns. And one of those films is, of course, Transformers Last Night, which actually ended up being box office disappointment. I mean, as you already know, it hasn't even really broken 600 million yet, so that's almost half of what the previous two sequels did. Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction both made $1.1 billion. It just made just a little bit over half, so that's quite disappointing overall, but there's still the film still has yet to open in 4 more countries, so we're not quite sure how much more it'll do then. But based on what it says here from the Hollywood Reporter, I'm just going to read you exactly what it says in this excerpt here. The 5th installment, The Last Night, opened to a series low 69.1 million in its domestic debut over the 4th of July holiday weekend. While it has seen more action abroad for an international gross of 392.4 million, it is still expected to be the lowest grossing entry in the Transformers franchise to date, and has only earned 517.3 million worldwide in 4 weeks. Now, Paramount is cutting costs. Its Bumblebee spin-off is pegged at 70 million plus, according to sources, compared to Last Night's 217 million. A younger cast headed by Haley Steinfeld, 20, will be directed by Travis Knight when filming starts in August. The story centered on a yellow bot will be set in 1987. I think that's not quite accurate. They said 1985. We're trying to please the fans and also give them a new experience, says the producer Lorenzo. But there's a new audience introduced to the franchise every 10 years, and we have an obligation to that new audience. Okay, so that $70 million is a third of what the Transformers Last Night was made for. You guys have all seen Transformers Last Night. You guys know it was a big movie. It was globe-trotting. There was a lot of destruction. It had a big giant set pieces, and there was a lot of CG involved, and just a lot of destruction, which cost a lot of money. And considering the fact that it was such a global film, that also adds to the cost. They're gonna keep this right in home base, filming it right in LA, got $22 million worth of tax credits, and they're keeping it local, and they're keeping it small. Smaller robot cast, and a cast of a bunch of young unknown actors. Well, at least not big actors, but small time actors who could potentially lead to something bigger with such a big, high profile title like Transformers. So they're really cutting costs down, and I think that I can't even imagine what a $70 million Transformers film is going to be like. That's less than half of what the first Transformers film was made for at $150 million. That's the first film 10 years ago. So I can't even imagine what $70 million is going to look like. I'm thinking 1 Autobot, that's being Bumblebee, and 3 to 4 Decepticons at most. And of course, no big explosions, like Michael Bay style explosions, none of those kind of set pieces. No military, no US military. I'm pretty sure they're just going to limit the authoritative human aspect to just a police. I think they're just going to limit it to LAPD. They're not going to bring in the military, and this is 1985, so therefore I think they're really going to keep the robots in disguise aspect and make it less about an alien invasion, because with an alien invasion, you know, there you got to bring in like a global response team, and that's in the form of the US military. So yeah, that's I can see how they can cut costs. I just can't imagine what that's going to be like. Anyways, the last thing I want to share with you guys is this interview with a producer, Lorenzo de Bonaventura, from denofgeek.com, and the title reads, Bumblebee, what to expect from the next Transformers movie. I'm going to read you all of his quotes, okay? We're starting to shoot a week from today. We had decided to do this well before the last night had come out. Our feeling was that we wanted to give the audience a different experience. Bumblebee's designed to be a more intimate movie. There's many fewer Transformers in it. It's set in 1987. So it is 1987. So it actually predates all of Michael's movies, and therefore is not burdened by the history of those, because it predates it. You have a certain amount of creative freedom. I think Bumblebee is an incredibly loved character. You picked director Travis Knight for a very specific reason. His movies are pretty extraordinary. Kubo and the Two Strings, in particular, what we're trying to do is deliver a love story. Maybe too strong of a term, but it is a coming of age for Bumblebee and our lead character, Haley Steinfeld. The two of them, their job in the movie is to support each other to get to the place where they both fully realize who they are in that moment. It's a very different kind of story. That plot is there, but it's very muted relative to the larger Transformers movies. Yeah, I think so. I do. Look, it was a great... Now, this is speaking about the I guess the box office failure that is Transformers Last Night. Yeah, I think so. I do. Look, it was a great run. I think going forward, we learned some lessons, and I think we need to change it up. I think Michael Bay, director of all 5 Transformers films, would be the first one to say that. It's one of the reasons why we were trying to bring in the Arthurian myth, in fact, in The Last Night, to create that different sense of what that movie's about. I think we were successful in that way, but obviously not in the box office. So I'm actually glad that Lorenzo de Bonaventura, as a producer for these films, actually acknowledges the fact that it was not a box office success. Sure, they made their money back and a little bit extra, but it definitely was not the same success as the previous 4 films. It was definitely not at all. And he acknowledges that, and I'm glad to see someone who can say that it's not a box office success. Essentially, he's saying that they definitely were disappointed in that department and they failed. Now they're changing things up. He mentioned something very interesting in that... in the Hollywood Reporter article, is that every 10 years you got to change up who this film is intended for, the demographic. And what you see here is a much younger cast. And I think that's great that they're going in a different direction, a younger direction with a younger cast. And they're still trying to bring back that magic that the first one had, but keep it in a more intimate setting. And I think deep down inside, we're still going to have a lot of the similar themes, such as, you know, doing what you're meant to do. Like in the first one, you know, Sam Witwicky, you know, he had a big task, but he was kind of thrusted into this world. Well, Haley Steinfeld's character is going to do the same thing. But one thing that's actually really, really important to this is that Bumblebee is going to see some serious development. Based on what he says here, it looks like we're really going to see some development in his character, as in the Last Night, it kind of teased that he's got a much greater history than we already know from the previous 4 films. So that in itself is great. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. I really, like I said before, I'm really looking forward to this film, and it looks like it's actually going to be great. It's definitely going to be better than The Last Night. But anyways, I want to give shout outs. I want to give shout outs to Phil Smith from Aberdeen in Scotland, Josh Taylor, Nathan Rentala, Alex Pop from Pop Culture from Seattle, Gavin Johnson, and Ken Hill, who I met at TFCon. And birthday shoutouts go out to a belated birthday rather. They go out to Gerard Tracy, Jacques Bigel, and Alfonso from the Alfonso Nation. Happy birthday, buddy! Hope you all have a good one, and you know, keep up the great work on your channel. It's awesome. Keep it up. And I hope you had a great birthday. And it seems like you had a great birthday. I've checked out all your photos on Instagram. Follow Alfonso on Instagram, and also go to his latest video on his channel and say happy birthday to him, and also make sure you subscribe. All right. Anyway, speaking of birthdays, you know, I typically keep this quite not so public, but I'm just gonna mention it, and that is my birthday's coming up on August 15th. So if you want to send me something, you don't have to. If you want to write, like, send me a birthday card, or you know, something, or nothing at all, I'm gonna leave you my PO box in the description box below. You can send me something if you would like to, but even just a happy birthday on August 15th would make me smile. So thank you so much for that. You guys have been awesome. I really appreciate all your support, and stay tuned for more videos. Of course, we got the Q&A episode for About Last Night. Got even more questions for me to answer, so thank you so much for that. If you want to do that, you can tweet at me, follow me on Twitter and tweet at me #AboutLastNight, and I'll try to answer your questions randomly. As always, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more, hit that like button, subscribe to YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Oh, it's this one. Nice. All right. Holy cow. Pretty sweet ride. All right, let's load up.